Hey everyone, Joe here with the Idaho Prepper channel. Good to be back with you guys here today. So, in a couple months, my family and I are going to be taking a trip to California. And one of the things I started thinking about as I was kind of mentally preparing myself for this trip was how can I defend myself while I'm there? Now, I was born and raised in California. For those of you who follow my channel, you know this. I moved from there when things started getting really crazy. When it started becoming what I like to refer to as anarcho tyranny, where it was like tyranny for the law abiding and anarchy for the non law abiding. The more you try to comply with the laws and rules and regulations of California, like the more they just come down on you. And so it is one of the main reasons why I got out of there. I just didn't like feeling as though if I tried to defend myself, I would end up in more trouble than it was even worth. So it's one of the big reasons why I got out of there. But that's not what we're talking about. So what I started looking into as far as the laws, because even though I am from there, I'm not that brushed up on the laws. And so I just did some basic chat GBT research on these laws. I want to state before we get into this video, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving legal information or advice in any shape, way, or form. I am just basically someone that's typing questions into ChatGPT and it's giving me some feedback. Now, I will say ChatGPT is pretty accurate when it comes to laws. These rules are pretty accurate. Now, they are vague in the sense, you think of California, it's a really big state. So it depends on what part of California you're in as far as where the laws are going to be more strict. So if you guys are don't going to California and you're thinking about what I'm thinking about, how do I defend myself, do your own research because each area is different. I know that Northern California is a lot more laxed when it comes to gun laws than Southern California, and especially like where we're going, which is Marin County. It's kind of the belly of the beast, right near San Francisco. So I did want to look into what sort of laws I would have to comply with, especially as it pertained to carrying my pistol. I wanted to see if it was even worth bringing. And to be honest with you, and I'm going to read these what ChatGPT gave me. I'm honestly contemplating even bringing my pistol with me. It's honestly the amount of rules that you have to comply with to bring this thing. It almost renders it totally useless, in all honesty, and you'd end up getting almost in more more trouble than it's worth. It's almost not even worth the hassle. I still might just bring it because obviously I can't carry this on my person like I can here in Idaho, where we have constitutional carry. I don't even need a permit to carry this with me concealed. In California, you can't even carry it at all on your person. You can transport it from point A to point B, but it has to be in a locked box and blah blah blah. Blah. But we'll get into that. So I might still bring it with me just because, to defend myself when we're in our house. I'm going to be staying with family. Although, the area that we're staying in is very safe. I'm not really worried about it. So I don't know. I'm kind of undecided on it, but the information I pulled up here is still very interesting. Now, I did also pull up a lot of information on alternative means of defense and just some other ideas I had. So we'll go ahead and we'll start with the pistol and what ChatGPT told me I need to do if I want to carry this pistol into California. And bear with me here, I kind of have to curtail my language a little bit. I probably shouldn't even be calling it what I'm calling it. It's what, I mean, firearm, I could call it firearm. People always use pew pew. I can't do it. I can't call it a pew pew. Sorry. I'd rather just get demonetized. But bear with me here. I might call it an instrument or a self-defense tool. Maybe that's what we'll do. But the question I asked, can I bring my M&P Shield 9mm to California with me for protection? ChatGPT. Yes, if you already legally own your Smith & Wesson M&P Shield, you can legally bring it into California with you for lawful possession and protection provided it complies with California law. The big thing to know is the handgun itself is usually legal in California. So, yes, this M&P Shield here is actually legal because the magazine capacity only goes up to eight rounds, and the maximum mag capacity in California is 10. So you can't have a firearm that holds more than 10 rounds. So this beauty is not going to be making the trip into California with me. Needless to say, this is going to have to stay home, and it's safe here in Idaho. You cannot bring magazines over 10 rounds into the state. The pistol must be transported unloaded in a locked container while in a vehicle. The glove box does not count as a legal locked container. So even if your glove box has a lock on it or your center console has a lock on it, doesn't count. That's not a lock box. It's got to be in an actual box. The other thing that makes me not feel very good is you'll notice they use words like generally. I see generally in law. It's like, okay, that's a little too ambiguous for me. And that's how you get yourself in trouble. Is just they're not being very definitive when it comes to the law. You just don't even know if you're in compliance or you're breaking the law when you're in California because there's just so many laws around this stuff. So if I were to bring this defensive tool with me, it would be probably like this, open. I'd have the chamber open, okay, totally unloaded, the magazine not inserted into the tool, okay. The magazine's going to be to the side, and both of them are going to be in a box locked, and I probably put that box in the trunk of my vehicle. So yeah, you guys, you know, you start hearing this stuff and probably you're thinking what I'm thinking, that just renders this thing utterly worthless as far as a defensive instrument. So, but if you wanted to transport it into California, that's, probably how you'd have to do it to stay out of trouble. If you move to California and become a resident, you generally must register the firearm with the California DOJ within 60 days using the new resident firearm ownership report. California does not recognize most out-of-state concealed carry permits. If you want to carry it concealed in public, you typically need a California CCW permit issued by a California county sheriff or police department. And again, that's another one of those things where the area that I'm going, I don't even think that they do issue CCWs anymore. I think they stopped that a long time ago. Actually, there's parts in Northern California where you can still get a concealed carry permit, and I know this because a friend of mine had to get one. Kind of a long story, but he was one of the first contractors to bid on the border wall in 2016. It was like when Trump first got elected, and they kind of opened up the bidding process of building the southern border wall to the public. And so my friend was one of the first contractors who bid on it. Anyway, somehow like the news caught wind of it, and they called him up to interview him, and he obliged, did the interview, and he did a couple more interviews, and within like 48 hours he was having like his phone was just getting blown up with death threats. And so he was like, I guess I'm going to have to go defend myself. So he went through this long process of getting his permit. But I do know that you can get CCWs in parts of Northern California from that reason. But again, it's like the laws and the rules around it are still so strict as far as carrying the pistol. It almost renders it useless. Like he couldn't chamber around. He couldn't carry it in a traditional, like, below the waist buckle. He had to keep it like in a fanny pack type deal. And because he didn't want to run the risk of it printing or silhouetting, because you get in trouble for that. Even if you have the permit, you're totally legal. If somebody sees that you're carrying it, you get in big trouble. So it's just the laws are totally crazy there. One more important caution: if your shield has a threaded barrel or other prohibited modifications that can create legal issues in California, you want to be careful with that. So again, you guys are going to have to do your own research. I'm not offering legal advice here. It's just what it says. No modifications. And I knew that was one thing that they suggested if you were going to have any type of firearm in California for like home defense, don't put any crazy stuff on it. Don't put like, you know, like decals, like what any type of decal, like any type of thing that would suggest that you are kind of a trigger hot person or a politically inclined. No political stuff. Like keep it as neutral and as dry and basic as possible. And that was one of the things that was actually suggested to my friend by the concealed carry instructors there. They're like, don't put on like fancy optics or anything that enhances it. Just keep it plain, because if you do have to use it to defend yourself, all that stuff, you know, is going to come up in a court case, and it makes everything more difficult. But that did get me thinking. So if I don't bring my defensive tool with me into California, what is an alternative means of defending myself? And that brought me to OC spray. So I looked up that because I wanted to know the rules when it came to OC spray, because most of this stuff I bought here in Idaho. So I wasn't sure how compliant this stuff is. But we'll go ahead. I'll read you what it says about OC spray. Yes, in California, most adults can legally carry OC spray for self-defense. California treats pepper spray under its tear gas laws, but civilian carry is generally lawful if you follow the rules. Key California rules: you generally must be 18 years old to purchase and carry pepper spray. The canister must be 2.5 ounces or smaller. That I didn't know. And I don't know if this has got to be less than 2.5 ounces. Anyways, I'll look into that. Must be an aerosol spray. Projectile, pepper launchers, and similar devices are generally not legal for civilians. It can only legally be carried and used for self-defense. Using it offensively, threatening people with it, or spraying someone during a non-dangerous argument can lead to criminal charges. Certain people are prohibited from possessing it, including some convicted felons and people addicted to narcotics. Some places restrict it, such as many government buildings, courthouses, and some schools. So, yeah, again, you just got to be careful. Do your own research. Know the rules of what area of California you're going into, because, again, the laws are all different. And, yeah, and also probably should have mentioned it. If you're not legal to have any of this stuff, then I don't even know why you're watching this video. So, not going to be able to carry any of this stuff with you if you have felonies. So, next thing I looked into, because I was like, all right, well, I can bring OC spray. Can I bring body armor? Because I have some body armor here. I'm going to be going into some dangerous parts. My family was talking about, you know, maybe going into San Francisco to go to the zoo in Oakland, but some dangerous parts there. So I was thinking, how could I defend myself there? And now I'm not even sure, because I just said California. I didn't say San Francisco. I'm almost certain that the rules in San Francisco are even stricter than just California, generally speaking. But I did want to look into, you know, body armor. So as far as body armor goes, yes, in most cases, civilians can legally own and wear body armor in California. There's no general ban or buying of or wearing ballistic vests, plate carriers, or rifle plates for ordinary adults. However, there are important restrictions. If you have been convicted of a violent felony, California law generally prohibits you from possessing body armor. People prohibited from possessing firearms in California can also face restrictions on body armor possession. So it goes well. If you have a felony, you can't be wearing this. You can't even be in possession of it, according to ChatGPT. But for most law-abiding civilians, you can legally buy it, you can legally own it, you can legally wear it in public. No permit or registration is generally required. A few practical cautions: certain private businesses, schools, government buildings, or events may prohibit armor on their property. Federal law also prohibits violent felons from possessing body armor nationwide. So there it is. It's still little ambiguous, but if I was to wear some body armor, this is what I'd wear. This is soft armor. This is from Premier Body Armor. This is like their level 3A armor. So this body armor here will actually protect you up to like a 44 caliber, maybe, I think, but not rifle rounds. So almost all pistol rounds this will protect you from, and knife attacks as well. So really good stuff. Very lightweight. You can wear this under your shirt, and honestly, you can't even see it. You don't even notice it. So it's really comfortable stuff. So definitely I'm going to be bringing this with me. So OC spray, body armor, those are definitely going with me. Next thing I was wondering was knives. What are the laws surrounding knives? Because I always have a folder on me at all times. So I looked up, can I carry a knife on me in California? Yes, but California laws are complicated. So there's an even more ambiguous word, complicated. That's like worse than generally. Because legality depends heavily on the type of knife and how you carry it. For most ordinary pocket knives, it is generally legal to carry concealed in California if the knife is folded closed. For fixed blade knives, including many tactical knives, so a knife like this, that's what we're talking about, it is legal to carry openly in a sheath suspended from the waist. It is illegal to conceal it on your person. So if you wanted to carry a knife like this in, some parts of California, you could only do so if it is on your belt and exposed. It's open carry. Some knives are outright restricted or illegal. Switchblade knives with blades over 2 inches are generally illegal to carry, possess in public, sell, or transfer in California. Ballistic knives and certain disguised knives like belt buckle knives, lipstick knives, and cane swords, etc., can also be illegal. So yeah, a folding knife clipped inside your pocket, okay, like what I do, is commonly lawful. So for the most part, this is legal, but probably not inside courthouses, public, space. It depends on where you go, but like in the public sphere, probably okay. But again, do your own research. A concealed fixed blade in a waistband or boot can lead to arrest, and most likely would. Local city ordinances can be stricter than state laws, especially in places like Los Angeles or San Francisco. Yeah. Schools, government buildings, airports, etc. So, this is good. So far we have OC spray I'm bringing, my concealed carry knife, my folding knife, my EDC knife, and we got some soft body armor. So we're pretty good there. One thing I would bring, and I know I can bring this, I didn't even have to look it up, and I would suggest everybody bring with them at all times, wherever you go, is a good IFAK. So this is my IFAK from Refuge Medical. Got everything I need in here to stop bleeding. I got tourniquets. I have some compression bandages, all kinds of stuff in here. I'll definitely be taking this with me in case, I run into somebody who isn't following the laws. At least I can patch myself up when they are assaulting me. But that's going to do it for me today, you guys. And that's the list of stuff that I'm going to be bringing with me for sure. Like, again, I'm not decided on my pistol if I'm going to be bringing this with me or not, but I'll definitely be bringing my IFAK, my OC spray, my folding knife, and some soft body armor. So let me know in the comments what you guys think of this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, especially if for those of you who live in California, you can share some of the laws or whatever rumors that you've heard of there. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, go ahead and hit that notification bell. So with that said, until the next time, stay prepared.